All right, good afternoon. We'll call to order the regular meeting of the City of Murfreesboro Board of Zoning Appeals for November 20th, 2017. First item on our agenda is a consideration of the revised minutes for our meeting on September 27th, 2017. Are there any changes necessary for those? Mr. Tips, you had something you saw with those satisfactory?
I don't see any need for any other changes.
Okay. If no changes needed, those will stand as approved. And then the minutes for our meeting from October 25th, 2017. Any changes necessary to those?
Me.
If not, those will stand as approved, and we'll move on to new business. I've got one application that's a variance request this month. It's application Z17056 by Suzanne Jackson of Barge, Cawthorn and Associates on behalf of Rutherford County Board of Education and Oakland Middle School, requesting two variances from the City of Murfreesboro zoning ordinance. This is for property in a RS-15 single-family residential district located at 853 DeJarnett Lane. There are two components to this application. The first one is a variance from Chart 2 requiring a maximum building height of 35 feet. And this is to allow the proposed annex building roof screening to not exceed height by 6 feet 7 inches. And the second portion is a variance from the ordinance requiring institutional uses, no parking located within the required front yard setback. This is to allow the 4 parking spaces adjacent to the future restroom and concession building to extend 16.5 feet into the required 40-foot front yard setback. If you would review that for us.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commission. So this might look a little familiar to y'all. It was before the Board of Zoning Appeals on September 27th, 2017 for a special use permit requesting that additional building area for the Oakland Middle School, and the board had granted approval of that special use permit. As they continued to work on the building design, they realized that the building height itself met the requirements of the zoning ordinance at 35 feet, but they need to put the equipment, the mechanical equipment that will accommodate this annex building onto the roof. It can't be located on the ground due to the easements in that particular vicinity. So as a result of the mechanical equipment on the roof, the required screening is going to extend the overall height of that building to 41 feet 7 inches, which is taller than our maximum height of the building. The second request, as indicated, is for parking spaces to be located within the front 40-foot yard setback. And as noted in the zoning ordinance, under special standards for institutional uses, parking's not allowed within the front setback. But due to the playing fields and the location of this restroom facility, those parking spaces are necessary. There's also a 20-foot wide public utility easement that's located along Cushing, which also will remain intact, and there will be no parking within that easement itself. The applicant has indicated, again, that these are required due to the easements that are located on the property, and they're doing their best to make sure that the rooftop equipment is screened from adjoining views of the neighborhood. The applicant is present here today, although it's not Suzanne, to answer any questions that the board may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for staff at this point? The main buildings that are already there, are they roughly the same height? Or maybe that's the...
Yeah, the main building is, I think, roughly the same height as what the annex is.
Okay.
Oh, actually higher. You know what? I should let them respond. I'm guessing.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Joseph Binkley, Binkley Garcia Architecture. The existing building has a height of 58 feet at the gymnasium roof, and so the scale of the building, even with the two-story building out back, would be less than that, with the building itself being 35 feet.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add, or any other questions?
Oh, I'm sorry, I do have one more thing I'd like to add, just to bring to your attention. Not that it's a concern, but the site plan that was provided to you for this particular project showed 2 rows of parking for the athletic field that's across Cushing Avenue. There was double-loaded parking. That has since been modified to eliminate one of those rows of parking, so therefore there will not be any parking located within the setback on that side. So I just wanted to bring that correction to your attention. Thank you.
So the parking on page C2 that's white? Is that not going to be, is that what you mean? Or,
I believe that's the way I'm reading it.
okay, I see it in the picture now. I wasn't looking on my screen. I was looking on the paper. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I answered my own question.
I return it back to the board. Thank you for accommodating that comment.
Any more questions for the applicants? Or
I suppose that the layout with the softball field prohibited you from moving that concession stand closer to where the parking would be beyond the setback, right?
Yes, sir, and I actually have a loaded exhibit, so if we can get that projected, that would be great. And Jeff Hooper with Barge, Coughlin and Associates. So as you can see up on the screen, the softball field is to the north up here. The baseball field down towards south, towards the new expansion. Between the two fields is a rather large drainage ditch that takes drainage off the subdivision to the west. And then you see the setback line in orange along the north side and along Cushing. So there was really only one location that we could get it. We are providing concessions in bathrooms. There's not a convenient location for especially bathrooms in this case. And the parking allows us to actually put ADA accessibility parking out there for the baseball and softball practice fields, which is helpful for us. So.
And that softball field is already out there. There's not going to be any changes that are made
That's
to
correct. They're both there, existing, and won't change.
How close is that to, it's a retention pond, I believe that's in that area where you're going to build that too, across the street there?
There's no retention there. The drainage in that area drains directly across Cushing Avenue down into the bottomland. The school's drainage pond is further south, back on the east side of Cushing as well.
The one pond, the retention pond?
It's across the street, I think, from.
Yes, ma'am. Trey Lee with Rutherford County Board of Education. The retention pond is actually at the revised parking that you just looked at, where we had double rows and it's single row. It's actually to the south of that. It's actually a long ways away from the concession stand.
Oh, okay, right.
thank you. Anything further?
Okay, great.
Thank you, guys. This time, we'll conduct a public hearing. Anyone present wishing to speak for or against this application, they come forward now. Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and open the floor for any further discussion or a motion. And again, we've got 2 components with this application.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 6 foot 7 inch height variance.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's been approved. Next, the setback for the parking.
I'll make a motion that we approve the setback for the parking.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for the parking. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. That application's been approved. Appreciate you guys' time. That being our only item, next is staff reports and other business.
We don't have anything to report, thank you.
And this is just our final calendar.
Yes, thank you. So the calendar that's passed out to the board members, that is the final version, which is the version that you voted on at the last month's meeting.
Okay.
Thank you all for your flexibility and trying to accommodate, and between your schedules and the chamber schedules, it was just a challenge, but thank you all for your flexibility. Much appreciated.
All right. If there's nothing further, we will adjourn.